education, in orientation, in mobilization, in sensitization. We have a lot to do. And it's so vast. It's unending. As long as we continue to, our TV stations, our radio stations, what are we doing? Those days, there are a lot of commercial messages, social messages.
Social messages.
How many of that do we have today? Agbada ọ̀dà lọ́rùn kẹ̀kẹ́ o. Agbada rèé ó dá lóhùn àmúròde. Kẹ̀kẹ́ rèé ó dá lóhùn àmúràjò. Ṣùgbọ́n agbada ọ̀dà lọ́rùn kẹ̀kẹ́. How many of such are we having? Even on television. How are we helping our nation? Fake drugs and all of that. There are social messages on that. But how much of that? We have allowed commercial considerations to take over our role as a moral guardian to the people. I want to see a situation where we begin to have such, and then it will help to develop our psyche as a nation. And then people will now I want it to go viral. Things like that, social messages, let it go viral, let people know about the value. BCOS, when it started, there was one man said, good name is better than gold and silver. And he was singing it in that area, English.
Even OGBC used to do stuff like that.
Something like that. So how many of that are we doing these days? And if we can still recall all these things, that means it had some influence on us.
Sure. There was even some that were done by late icon Ray Mike Wachuku. You understand me? That were played on RN2, and you identified with them. Your highway is not a racetrack. No matter what, no matter how tempting, never speed. Remember those you left at home are waiting to welcome you safely back home. We wish you a safe journey.
How many of that?
That was engagement.
How many of that do we have these days? How many? And then all we want is viewership, 1 million.
But you could also think, could it be that at those points in time, those stations were government owned?
Oh yes. Even now, and now.
Yes.
We must not. That is why I said everything is on commercial, value now. But at least we are agents of change.
Yes.
The media is supposed to generally, whether it's privately owned or we are agent of change. And then even if they take it as a CSR, a corporate social responsibility, and devote some time, to those. So it's not all about money. It's all about impact in the society.
Which is why we are running.
Yes, I know. Yes, that's why I
appreciate that.
Yes.
Because our audience is a young audience, so we want to say, there was a time that this was like that.
Yes.
Talking about a time when something was like that, I recall that Ilesha means a lot to you.
Oh, yes.
Right? And
I was born and I grew up there.
In Ilesha. And then there's Ijebu, which is your
hometown.
A hometown.
Yes.
So if you were to take your children to the hometown, where would you take them?
Of course, Ijebu, because that's my town.
No Ilesha.
No, Ilesha, they heard about Ilesha, but you see, they will still tell me stories in Ilesha that you are not one of us.
Then actually they do that everywhere.
So there's no place like home. No matter how long you stay in the place, the people will still tell you that, look, you better go and find your father's house, and all of that. So and my parents, after retirement,
and they went back home.
So that's the.
You see, I asked that question because we have a problem with this issue of you belong here, you don't belong there.
Yes.
Where you find yourself living for a particular number of years, say anything beyond 10 years, you pay tax there and all that, should be home to you.
Oh, yes.
But politically, sometimes it's difficult to engage.
It is, particularly in Nigeria.
Yes.
Particularly in Nigeria, when you aspire to, that is when people will remind you of your roots.
Yeah, exactly.
Meanwhile, you have spent the better part of your life in a particular. But when you aspired for a leadership position, and then people will tell you,
not one of us.
You don't. It's not one of us. You don't.
But how do we get out of that bind?
Well, like I said, it's also a mindset thing. It's a leadership is a leadership thing. If our leaders can actually say, look, enough of this. We are also going to whatever we're doing here is based on merit. It is not about where you come from. It's if you are the one that can deliver, so let it happen. Until our leaders begin to take decisions based on merit and not from where you come from. We can't on our own do that since we don't have a choice. So it is a collective resolve from the leadership to say, look, I'm going to allow the best to have a say in this matter. Once it's like that, then we will continue to thrive.
So in conclusion, let me ask you a question that takes you back to your relationship with your dad.
Okay.
Right? And what you took away from him. I recall the story of when he was ill and all that. Yeah. You had to go there. Yes. You played some hymns to him. He raised his hands in recognition of those. And when you played the ones that were sounding hope, he dropped his hand.
Yes.
And when you played the one that was saying, take the name of Jesus with you, whatever it is, I'm with you, and then he will raise his hand, and that's where you should be going.
Yes.
And then you were called that, come back. You refused to go see him.
Yes.
When, that's not the right way. You refused to taint your image of him.
Yes.
Right? That I'd rather see him as a victorious person than when he's dead. How was that like you?
I'm not sure I would have survived seeing him give up the ghost.
Okay.
Because we were so close at later part of his life that I won't be there to see him just take that last breath. I mean, it's going to affect me. So I felt that the best thing I could do for this man is just allow him to go in peace and retain the picture that I saw while he was alive.
Okay.
And I think it has to do with the emotion,
the
emotional attachment that I had with him. And when he was taken to the morgue and I got there, I saw him, I actually ran away, but something just held me back and said, look, this man died at 88. He had done his bit.
Yes.
One day, someday, your children will bring you to, if not this place, somewhere like this place. Yes. So go back and celebrate him, And that was how I was able to get out of it. So I just went back and said, sir, you have done your bit, we will celebrate you, and we will continue to celebrate you.
Did you both share the love or preference for particular or similar hymns?
Oh, he was actually my influence in all my choices of hymns. Yeah. And that's why for 8 years now, we've been running a musical concert, a musical competition in the whole of Ijebuland, all Methodist churches in Ijebu. Every Easter Saturday, we always have a competition amongst all the members of the choir to donate musical instruments in his name.
In his name,
Yes, in my parents' name. My mom too was a singer. She had her compositions that I also tried to produce, and we do that, give musical instruments, give cash prize and all of that. And we are building a generation of hymn lovers, those who would see hymns as ministration in songs. And then those who are also who want to learn one or two musical instruments, but they can't afford it. So we give them out every year, and then they're happy. And I'm sure that in the nearest future we'll begin to see them as stars in gospel music. We produce a gospel artist a year. Free of charge. And then we do to the point of launching their albums with musical videos. This is the 3rd year we're going to do that.
We've been doing that.
We've been doing that all free, all pro bono. And we also like to celebrate our icons too.
Yes.
Like Jimmy Sholanke, Uncle Tunji Ilano, all of them. We want to celebrate some of them. We don't want them to die on song. We wish. I recall what we did for Uncle Tunji Ilano during his 83rd birthday. That song, he never recorded it. It was when the military took over in 1983.
Yes.
ẹ̀yin ará àdúgbò, eléyìí ò rọgbọ mọ́.
Oh yes.
And then we did it, sent to him in UK. He wept like a baby.
Oh wow.
He said he thought Nigerians have forgotten him. And I was happy we were able to do that when he was alive.
Yeah.
We did for Orlando Julius too. He was happy, you know, in his weak moment. You know, we thank God for the life of Uncle Jimmy Sholanke. He's still healthy and you know, and he did also. We did. So I like to celebrate our icons. I just use my God-given resources to do all of this because I believe in the fact that we don't have to. Because how do we want the ones coming up? So if they feel that nobody will reward them for what they are doing, they look for quick money.
Yes.
And drop substance.
And even it's funny that these days the level of musicianship is dropped.
Yes.
You understand me? So there's a lot of sampling and all that.
Yes.
Everybody gets in and then he sings it. Some songs you can't even relate to them.
Yes.
But they say we are old school. So
I had cause to deliver a lecture in Dubai for corporate players. I won't mention name of artist now so that it's not going to look like I'm promoting an artist. Sure. And I addressed the corporate players, and I told them, I said, look, it's good to have a popular artist to drive your crowd, to have 1 million audience who will come and sing what they want to hear. Have you considered just one artist that will sing morals? Even if you just want to infuse him, if you just want to give him 10 minutes to address that audience that you have,
that massive
audience, you might be surprised that maybe 100 people will go home with a message. Not the kind of vulgar ones that you want to, because that's how you want to pull your crowd. Right. Fine. But do you think as your own CSR, you get an artist that is going to at least appeal to the consciousness, to the minds of these youths, so that when they get to it, this man is making sense? They said no, that all is about bottom line.
Okay, well, the bottom line for us is that we are out of time now. So let me thank you so much, Shemo, for coming. It's been a lovely session talking to you, and we wish you the very best as you keep trudging the path of the good old days.
Thank you.
And contributing your own quota to our nation, Nigeria. Thank you very much for coming. It's been nice.
It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, same here.
Yes.
My guest today has been Shemore Badejo, PhD, and Knight of Charles Wesley. That's KCW.
Yes.
All right, and he's someone who is a multi-instrumentalist and committed artist and communications practitioner. Thank you so much for coming. Until we bring in another guest, stay tuned and keep with us.
We do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect them.
If you no talk, then go beat you.
Now 2,500 they pay.
Farouk